All right, so let's dive into this thing that's kind of both, like a digital dinosaur and a billion-dollar enigma, Craigslist. Like that website, it looks like it hasn't been updated since like dial-up was a thing. It's kind of a fascinating paradox, right?
Yeah, it really is. While like all these other companies are like chasing the next big thing, Craigslist just kind of keeps chugging along, kind of defying expectations.
Yeah, and they're not just like surviving, they're thriving. Like some reports put their profit margins around 80%,
Oh, wow.
which is unheard of, in most industries, let alone like the fast-paced world of online marketplaces.
Yeah, their bare bones approach, I think, really plays a role in that. No like flashy marketing campaigns, no sprawling campuses or anything like that. Just a small, lean team focused on providing this like basic functional platform.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. The man behind the name, Craig Newmark, is almost like a mythical figure in Silicon Valley. He's like the epitome of the reluctant billionaire.
Yeah, Newmark's personal philosophy is like super intertwined with Craigslist's like DNA, like simplicity, community, direct user engagement. It's more than just buzzwords for him, like they're guiding principles. There's this story about him as a kid, always wearing a pocket protector and taped up glasses. It kind of paints this picture of someone who values practicality and substance over like flash and hype?
That's pretty interesting. Like those values are almost like baked into the website itself. But Craigslist didn't start as like this global classifieds giant that it is today. Tell me about those early days.
Well, it began as a humble email list for local events in San Francisco. And the fact that it grew organically through like word of mouth and direct user feedback really shaped its kind of chaotic yet effective structure. There was no like grand plan or anything, no venture capital funding, just like a genuine desire to connect people.
And that organic growth really took off when they added the housing listings, right? Was that like a deliberate strategy or more of a reaction to what users were asking for?
It was a bit of both, actually. This is the late 90s, and San Francisco is in the middle of this housing crisis. People were desperate for apartments, and Craigslist became the go-to platform. It filled this need that traditional methods were failing to meet.
Okay, so this brings us to something I find really intriguing. The website's design, or should I say the lack of design. In an era of sleek apps and user-friendly interfaces, Craigslist is almost aggressively simple. What's the strategy behind that?
Well, that simplicity is a deliberate choice, and it's a key factor in their profitability. Think about it. They have like virtually no marketing expenses, and their operating costs are incredibly low. They're not chasing trends or trying to keep up with the Joneses of the tech world.
But isn't that kind of a double-edged sword? I mean, couldn't that simplicity also make the platform more vulnerable to, like, misuse, like scams or illegal activity?
Oh, you're absolutely right. That's the paradox of Craigslist. Their open platform and lack of stringent verification processes have definitely attracted bad actors, and they've faced a lot of criticism, particularly regarding the platform's role in facilitating sex trafficking.
Yeah, that was a huge controversy. They eventually shut down their erotic services category, and then later the entire personals section, right?
Right, partly due to public pressure and partly due to legal action. In 2018, a U.S. Senate bill aimed at combating online sex trafficking led to the personal section being shut down entirely, which highlights the challenges of content moderation and the delicate balance between user freedom and user safety.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even a platform that's built on, good intentions can have unintended consequences. Okay, let's move on to a saga that's almost Shakespearean in its drama. The eBay partnership. What happened there?
Well, it's a fascinating case study in clashing corporate cultures. You've got Craigslist with its community-driven, almost anti-capitalist approach, and then you've got eBay, this publicly traded company focused on growth and monetization.
Right, and eBay bought a 25% stake in Craigslist back in 2004, but it seems like they wanted full control. Didn't they launch like a competitor, Kijiji, around that time?
Yes, Kijiji, which means village in Swahili. Yeah, it was a pretty clear sign that eBay was hedging its bets, and Craigslist saw it as a betrayal, understandably.
And then came the lawsuits. eBay accused Craigslist of trying to dilute their shares, to diminish their ownership, while Craigslist claimed that eBay used their board seat to steal confidential information for Kijiji's development. It was a very messy and very public battle.
Yeah, the legal wrangling went on for years, and it took a toll on both companies. Ultimately, Craigslist bought back eBay shares, ending the partnership and remaining full control.
So it seems like a victory for Newmark's vision. But it makes you wonder, can this unconventional approach last, especially with competitors like Facebook Marketplace emerging, platforms that are happy to monetize features that Craigslist refuses to.
Right, that's the million-dollar question. Is Craigslist's model of simplicity and community-driven service sustainable in the long run, or are they destined to be overtaken by more commercially minded platforms?
It's fascinating how Craigslist has managed to resist, like, the Silicon Valley playbook. They've achieved this massive success without chasing venture capital or succumbing to the pressure to, like, scale up at all costs.
Yeah, there's something almost subversive about their approach, like a quiet rebellion against that growth at all costs mentality that dominates like the tech industry.
Yeah, and they've done it while remaining incredibly profitable. According to one estimate, Craigslist generated over $1 billion in revenue in 2018, with a significant chunk of that being pure profit.
Wow. It's really a testament to the power of simplicity and efficiency. Like they've built this lean, mean, money-making machine.
Yeah, but let's not forget, like, the human element. Craigslist is more than just like a platform for buying and selling. It's like a community hub, a place where people can connect with their neighbors and find everything from lost pets to used furniture to job opportunities.
Yeah, you can really see that community spirit reflected in the platform structure. It's decentralized with separate sites for hundreds of cities worldwide, and each site is tailored to the needs of its local community.
Yeah, that local focus is something that really sets Craigslist apart from its competitors. Platforms like Facebook Marketplace and eBay tend to operate on a more global scale, right?
Exactly, yeah. And that hyperlocal approach has allowed Craigslist to become like deeply embedded in the fabric of many communities. It's a vital resource for people who are looking for local goods and services.
Hmm. But hasn't that local focus also made them a target for criticism? I'm thinking specifically about the impact of Craigslist on local newspapers and classified ad revenue.
Right. It's true that Craigslist has been blamed for contributing to the decline of print media. Their free classified ads have undoubtedly siphoned off revenue that traditionally went to newspapers.
Right, but isn't that just the nature of disruption? Like, new technologies often displace old ones?
It is, yeah. But it raises important questions about the role of technology in society and the potential unintended consequences of innovation. Craigslist's success has had this ripple effect on the media landscape, and not everyone has benefited.
Okay, let's talk about something that really struck me while I was going through the research. The sheer scale of this operation. Craigslist operates in over 70 countries, attracts millions of users every month.
Yeah, and it's mind-boggling when you consider the size of their team. They reportedly have fewer than 50 employees.
50 employees for a global platform with billions in revenue? How is that even possible?
It goes back to their commitment to simplicity. They've built a platform that is remarkably self-sustaining. Users post their own ads, moderate their own content, and handle their own transactions. Craigslist simply provides the infrastructure.
It's like a digital version of a community bulletin board, but on a massive scale.
Exactly, yeah. And that minimalist approach allows them to keep their operating costs incredibly low.
But doesn't that also create challenges? I imagine is difficult to moderate content and ensure user safety with such a small team.
Oh, it's definitely a balancing act. They've had to implement automated systems and rely heavily on user reports to flag inappropriate content. But it's an ongoing battle.
They've also had to contend with legal challenges related to their content. Remember the Craigslist killer case?
Oh, yeah, that was a tragic case. That highlighted the dark side of online anonymity. And it's a reminder that any platform that facilitates user interaction has a responsibility to protect its users.
And that responsibility becomes even more complex when you're dealing with a platform as large and as decentralized as Craigslist.
Absolutely. They've had to walk this fine line between maintaining user freedom and preventing harm.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about Craig Newmark himself. He's a fascinating character, a self-proclaimed nerd who seems genuinely driven by a desire to make the world a better place.
Yeah, he's a bit of an anomaly in the tech world. He could be living this lavish lifestyle of a billionaire, but he's chosen to focus on philanthropy instead.
Yeah, it's estimated that he's given away billions of dollars to various causes, ranging from journalism to veteran support to animal welfare.
Yeah, and his approach to philanthropy is as unconventional as his approach to business. He doesn't have a foundation or a team of advisors. He just gives money directly to organizations that he believes in.
That's pretty remarkable. It seems like he's genuinely motivated by a desire to help others, not by ego or a need for recognition.
Yeah, I think that's what makes him so intriguing. He's a reminder that It's possible to be successful without sacrificing your values.
But can that idealism survive in the cutthroat world of online business? Craigslist has faced its share of challenges, from legal battles to competition from larger platforms.
It's a valid question. Can a platform that prioritizes community and social good over profit maximization really thrive in the long run?
Especially in a digital landscape that's increasingly dominated by corporate giants with seemingly limitless resources.
Right. It's a David and Goliath situation, but Craigslist has a history of defying expectations.
Yeah, they've weathered storms before and emerged stronger. Perhaps their secret weapon is their authenticity. They're not trying to be something they're not.
Yeah, it's refreshing, isn't it? In a world of polished facades and carefully crafted brand identities, Craigslist is unapologetically itself.
Yeah, it's a throwback to a simpler time, a reminder that sometimes the most effective approach is the most straightforward one.
But is that enough to ensure their long-term survival? I guess that's the question we're left with.
It really makes you wonder what the future holds for a platform like Craigslist, right?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, they've carved out this unique niche in the digital world, but things are changing so rapidly. The rise of mobile devices, social media's sophisticated algorithms, it's all kind of changed the way people connect and consume information.
Yeah, and those changes are reflected in the competitive landscape, right? Like platforms like Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, and even specialized apps like Nextdoor. They're all kind of vying for Craigslist's users.
Right, and these platforms are offering features that Craigslist has kind of resisted, like integrated payment systems, user ratings, more visually appealing interfaces.
So how can Craigslist adapt and stay relevant in this evolving environment? Is it even possible for them to maintain their core values of simplicity and community while facing all these new challenges?
Yeah, that's the real question. Can they evolve without losing their essence? Some argue that they need to kind of embrace some level of modernization to survive, maybe incorporate some basic features like user verification or a more intuitive mobile app. It could help them compete without sacrificing their core principles.
Right, but wouldn't that risk alienating their loyal user base? I mean, part of Craigslist's appeal is its simplicity. People know what to expect. It's familiar, like a comfortable old pair of shoes.
That's a good point. Change can be corruptive. And Craigslist has always been wary of rocking the boat. But then again, doing nothing could be even riskier in the long run. It's that classic innovator's dilemma.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is Craigslist seems to be acutely aware of these challenges. In recent years, they've taken some small steps towards modernization, like introducing a redesigned homepage and implementing stricter measures to combat spam and scams.
Right. It suggests that they're not completely opposed to change. They're just being very deliberate and cautious about it, which, given their history, makes sense.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to find this balance, a way to adapt to the changing times without losing sight of what made them successful in the first place.
Yeah, that's a real tightrope walk. It'll be interesting to see how they navigate it. They're a company that's always been difficult to predict.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into the world of Craigslist, I'm left with a sense of admiration for what they've accomplished.
Yeah, it's a really incredible story of unconventional success. They built this billion-dollar empire by going against the grain, prioritizing community over profit, and embracing simplicity over complexity.
Yeah, and in doing so, they've created something truly unique, a platform that's both a throwback to a bygone era and a potential model for a more human-centered internet.
Their future is definitely uncertain, but their impact on the digital landscape is undeniable. Craigslist has proven that there's more than one way to build a successful online platform. It's a testament to the power of authenticity, community, and a little bit of stubbornness.
Right. It's a reminder that sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective ones. So what are your takeaways from our deep dive into Craigslist? What resonated with you the most? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, keep diving deeper. As always, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and comment below.
Yeah, leave us your thoughts.
Let us know what you think.
And don't forget to check out the links in the description. You might find some useful stuff there. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.